Hello everyone, Mason here. How you doing? It's time for another book review. Today I'll be talking about The Shape of Lies, book number 8 in the DCI Tom Douglas series by Rachel Abbot, first published on the 19th of February 2019. If I read enough crime novels, do you think I can become a detective? Yeah, probably not. Best just stick to reading. A few weeks ago, I reviewed Close Your Eyes by Rachel Abbot, which was number 10 in the DCI Tom Douglas series. Yes, I started with number 10, I'm an idiot. Truth is, I saw it trending on Audible, thought it sounded interesting, started reading it, then realised it was part of a series, but at that point I was way too into it to stop. I actually enjoyed Close Your Eyes quite a lot. I enjoyed it enough that I needed to know whether it was a one-off or not. One of the things that I liked about it was that despite being book number 10, it was a pretty good standalone. There wasn't anything that I didn't understand, and it was fairly obvious that this isn't the sort of series that you desperately need to read in order. I went searching for another entry in the series that I could sink my teeth into, and I ended up settling on The Shape of Lies, which is number 8 in the series. I know I could have just gone for number 9, but I wanted to find one that really piqued my interest so that I could get a feel for whether it was as good as Close Your Eyes before deciding whether or not I want to go through the series in order. I was pleasantly surprised by the fact that I ended up enjoying The Shape of Lies even more than Close Your Eyes. They're completely separate stories. The only thing that connects them is Tom Douglas. Rachel Abbot clearly has her own style, and she executes it well, in my opinion, but because of this, Tom really isn't the driving force of these stories. Once again, The Shape of Lies is told in two perspectives. This time around we get Tom and Anna. It's weird. Just like with Close Your Eyes, Tom ends up being the less interesting protagonist. The way that Rachel Abbot tells these stories, Tom actually ends up feeling a bit like a supporting character in his own series. Don't get me wrong, I actually quite like Tom. He's understated and quiet, he's got a strong gut instinct, he's a family man, he always seems to want to do what's right, he wants the best for everyone around him. To be honest, he just seems like a really nice guy that's good at his job, he's just not the focus. One of the things that Rachel Abbot does so well is take these two perspectives, start them off at a point where they feel completely disconnected, has them run parallel with each other for a while until they slowly start to converge until we get the climax. And let me tell you, I thought the climax of The Shape of Lies was so good. I had such a good time with it. So what is The Shape of Lies about? Anna is a happily married woman. She's got a loving, supportive husband, 2 beautiful children, and a rewarding job as a head teacher. Unfortunately, things are about to get a bit difficult for her. On Mondays, whilst she's driving to work, Anna likes to listen to a feature on the local radio station called The One That Got Away, where listeners call in and share their stories of unrequited love and failed relationships. At the end of each week, a few people call in and pitch their stories. Whoever gets the most votes gets to call back the next week and share the story in full. On one particular Monday, a man called Scott calls the show and tells the presenter that for him, the one that got away was called Spike. And if he wins, he'll tell everyone about the relationship that he had with Spike, the mistakes they made, and what happened in Nebraska. For Anna, this rings alarm bells. Once upon a time, she was known as Spike, and she had a relationship with a man called Scott. Things definitely happened in Nebraska. The problem is, she doesn't want anyone to find out about what happened there, ever. She thinks that if they do, the life that she's built for herself will come tumbling down. And on top of that, Scott is dead, so how's he calling the radio station? Anna now has 1 week. 1 week to stop her life from falling apart. 1 week to find out who Scott is. Can it really be the Scott, a man that she's believed to be dead for 14 years? And if it's not, who is this man? Who knows her secrets, and why are they threatening to reveal them live on air? Meanwhile, DCI Tom Douglas is called to the scene of yet another murder. A murder that quickly gains media attention. Who is this man that was found dead in a car park in central Manchester? Why was he killed? Tom doesn't know, but he's gonna find out. Unfortunately, his investigation may cause even more trouble for Anna. From what I've seen so far, one of the things that I love about Rachel Abbot's writing is that she grounds her stories in reality and manages to make them so relatable. Don't get me wrong, because they're crime novels, they do tend to go to the extreme end of a bad situation, but I feel that she always does it in a way that it's completely conceivable that things could play out that way. She seems to have a knack for focusing on situations that could easily affect real, normal, everyday people. Close Your Eyes focused on cults and how easily people can be manipulated into joining them and how it can destroy their lives. The Shape of Lies focuses on something else entirely, and I can't really say what because it would be a massive spoiler, but it is something that affects millions of people worldwide. As you would expect from the title, the story focuses on lies. How one small lie can lead to 1,000,000 more of them. How those small lies can lead to bigger ones, and how those lies can mount up until they bury you and you can't find a way out of them. It demonstrates how naive and desperate people can be when they first fall in love, and how easily the people we love can manipulate us. It also explores how everyone has different sides to themselves, whether it's the one that you show at work, the one that you show at home, or the one that you don't show to anybody else. Everyone has different faces that they show to different people, depending on the situation. I actually really like Rachel Abbot's pacing. I said it when I reviewed Close Your Eyes, but it's the same here. She employs the use of chapters that are quite short. They feel like self-contained scenes. Once you're done with one, you're on to the next, and it gives it that one more, just one more, okay, one more type feeling, and before you know it, you've read 5 or 6 more chapters. It always feels like the story is moving. There's hardly any time for it to slow down. Anna's chapters are divided between now and then. We follow her in the present as she tries to figure out what the hell is going on, but she's also thinking a lot about the past, so as the story progresses we learn more and more about what happened to her back then. The story takes place over the course of 1 week, and a lot happens in that week. So between the events of the present, what happens in the past, and Tom's investigation, it always feels like we're learning something new. It always feels like something's happening. The only time that it ever feels like it slows down at all is when Tom is at home, but even then, this time he's got some family drama going on, so I don't have any complaints about that either. Once again, other than his friend Becky, whose crazy driving seems to be a running joke in the series, there aren't any characters that really feel like they stand out in Tom's chapters, which is a shame because I do love a good team approach to an investigation. I wish we got more information about the technical side of things like forensics, but I understand, it's not that sort of series. Tom actually isn't a big fan of attending postmortems, so I just tell myself that's why we don't get that much information about it. One of the things that I do like is the Greater Manchester setting. I don't live in the Greater Manchester area, but it's a lot more local and relatable to me than London is. It shows a side of England that I'm more familiar with, and I find it easier to picture things. Plus, I always give props to anything that's set in the UK outside of London. I don't hate London or anything, it's just a common setting, and I feel the same way I assume some Americans do when things are set in New York or LA. I quite like the vibe that The Shape of Lies has going on. I'm not sure whether people will get me, but it has this horror movie-esque feeling to it. Not in terms of violence and gore, because there isn't really any of that, but the main character thinking someone's dead and then them coming back to haunt them, hold their mistakes over their head and threatening to ruin their lives, the little clues that they leave around, a photograph left in a certain place, a mysterious text message, the implication that the main character's being watched, it all adds to this tense feeling that I really enjoyed. I did see the big reveal that happens at the end coming, but I don't necessarily mind because the way things happened were the best way that they could have happened, the most exciting way, and even then I didn't see what happened after the big reveal coming. There's a certain scene that made me feel so uncomfortable, and not in a horrible way, just in a oh my god, please let me never be in this situation kind of way. It plays off a phobia that a lot of people have, and most of the time you assume a phobia like that is pretty irrational, but let me tell you, if you're not creeped out by that scene, you are not human. The one slight criticism that I do have is to do with the dialogue. It doesn't always come across as believable. It's weird because it doesn't happen with all of the characters, it actually happens with Tom in particular, where he just talks like somebody out of a book. He phrases things in a way that normal people don't phrase things. Maybe Rachel Abbot does it on purpose, maybe it's supposed to represent the fact that Tom thinks things through quite a bit, but it's just one of the things that I found a little bit clunky. These Tom Douglas books aren't profound reading. You're not going to walk away and analyse them for hours trying to work out what the author was trying to say, but not all books need to be like that. Sometimes you're just looking for a good time. They're entertaining and they're pretty short. They're only about 10 hours long, and I know certain readers could polish that off in like a day. I feel like they'd be a great way to break up a more serious series if you need a break, or just to come back to every now and again for an easy, fun read. I personally will be working my way through the series in order now. I've been hooked. I'll probably try to get to one a month or something like that. I'm actually quite looking forward to it because Rachel Abbot seems to have a style that I enjoy a lot. I hope you've enjoyed today's review. If you have, say hi in the comments section and we can have a chat. Then cover the like button, because it's going in. The link to my Twitter is in the description, and subscribing will make sure that you don't miss any of my future reviews. Thanks so much for spending time with me today, guys. Until next time, take care. For now, I'm off, and you should have a good one.